Hey everyone, it's Kong again with another episode of Should You Summon? As always, I'm going to be presenting high-level overviews using these 4 criteria to help you decide whether this banner is worth your hard-earned vouchers and crystals. So let's get right into this Destiny banner featuring Listell, Omega, and Renata, running from August 19th to September 1st. As a Destiny banner, the first SSR that you pull is guaranteed to be one of these 3 that you don't already have. After you do pull that first SSR, or if you already have all 3 of these characters, then it's essentially treated like a normal raid-up banner, meaning you have a 20% chance to get off-banner heroes. So let's get started with Listell. She's a mostly PvP-focused unit, known for her ability to mess up your opponent's healing. She's a stat conversion character, so her outgoing damage is based on her magic defense rather than her int. She also has minor self and team healing skills, and an ability that lets her guard magical damage. She has no unique equipment yet, but she did recently get a 3-cost skill that lumps her best skills into one, doing AoE damage, inflicting targets with a Reaper's Touch effect, and splashing a disgusting bloody pool on the ground. This terrain effect causes Listell's heal reversal talent to anyone who steps in it. She's a member of Dark Reincarnation, buffed by Bozel and Licorice, and Yles Legends, buffed by Landius and Sigma. For bonds, she unlocks the attack bond for the Sage of the Trees, and she also needs normal vanilla Landius for her own attack bond, but that bond isn't really super necessary for her. For content, she's good in Timeless Trials maps that have fixed damage laws thanks to Blood Dance. She used to be useful as a source of reliable debuffs against Fenrir in Ancient Beckoning, but she got Demon 1-upped. Her true PvE calling is as part of the level 70 Valkyrie cheese in Eternal Temple, where you essentially heal reverse the boss and then all of its angel summons kill it. She has a variety of ways to be annoying in PvP. You can use Reaper's Touch on healers to make them deal damage to their heal targets, or on self-healing characters. Curse of Wounding and Blood Dance are used to blast huge fixed damage and make heroes unable to be healed. Listell bombs aren't quite as OP as they used to be, but a well-built Listell could still have a place in a dark debuff team. But you'll probably see more of her in World Arena than Apex Arena. For availability, she's not showing up on the upcoming banner schedule, so she won't be headlining another banner until January 2022 at the earliest. The last time this banner happened was around 7 months ago, and since it's now on the recurring schedule, that may be where it slots into the future schedule as well. Next up we have Omega. Omega is a gimmick assassin whose effectiveness is based on his skill stat. Run him in his assassin class for higher skill, and then jack his skill up as much as possible. His surprise attack allows you to ignore guard if your skill is double that of your target, and even bypass troops if your skill is triple. His talent also lets you teleport back to where you initiated your action, and then move 1 to 3 more spaces if you killed your target. His 3-cost skill increases crit rate and crit damage, increases hero skill range, and lets him move again with his leftover movement +2 in straight lines, so like Ares' dive bomb setup. His unique equipment is a headpiece that gives hit points, and if you get a kill with a skill, it speeds up the cooldown and gives you additional skill and movement. He's a member of Dark Reincarnation, buffed by Bozel and Licorice, and Meteor Strike, buffed by Zerida and Epsilon. For bonds, he unlocks the defensive bond for Gizaroth and the attack bond for fellow crazy sword-loving cyborg Epsilon. For his own bonds, he needs Sigma for his defensive bond and Lambda for his attack bond. For content, in PvE, Omega is a pretty solid character for trivializing a lot of run-of-the-mill PvE stuff. So story, time rifts, timeless trials, joint battles, and some challenges. Surprise attack ignoring guard and troops can let him erase many units and then teleport back to safety thanks to his talent. While this makes him useful against normal enemies, it also means he's not the greatest at sustained fights against big HP sponge super bosses. So even though his factions do give him a boost in certain Eternal Temple or Ancient Beckoning fights, he's not really worth fielding in those. For PvP, I don't see him super commonly, but he is still a threat. The big problem for Omega is that players can build their characters to pass his skill thresholds, or simply ban him. If you do get a chance to field your Omega, then you don't really know if you can outskill your opponents until it's too late. Much like Listell, I find he's more of a fixture in World Arena these days, especially since his 3C came out. It can make him kind of a cheesy player 1 strategy on those short maps. For availability, like Listell, since this is a recurring banner and these characters show up together, he's not showing up on the upcoming banner schedule until at least January 2022 at the earliest. Finally, we have Renata, and Renata's gimmick revolves around her Dragon Seal mechanic. You can attack with her 2-cost Dragon Seal skill, but it'll also be applied to any enemy who attacks any ally in a ring around Renata. She can then attack affected enemies through guard with boosted damage, and makes it so they can't move again or use passive skills. This Dragon Seal also synergizes with her 3-cost skill, which is a big damage single target attack that conditionally lets Renata attack first, and if the enemy is affected by Dragon Seal, Renata gets a self-revive buff for the next 2 turns. She's a member of Dark Reincarnation, buffed by Bozel and Licorice, and Langrisser Reincarnation, buffed by Ares and Hilda. And actually, as a special bonus consideration, her unique helm allows her to receive a Meteor Strike faction buff from Zerida and Epsilon. For bonds, she still doesn't roadblock any other character's bonds, and she needs Licorice for her own defensive bond and Akka for her attack bond. For content, she's on faction for Leviar and Fenrir, and against the Wolf in particular, she's a reliable source of debuffs, since she'll plaster him with her talent debuffs every time he AoEs your team. On the PvP side, she can be a powerful, mobile, single-target striker who makes your enemies think twice about who they're attacking. She'd be a lot better if her signature debuff weren't dispellable, though. For availability, like the other 2 characters on this banner, she's not showing up on the upcoming banner schedule, so she won't be headlining another banner until January 2022 at the absolute earliest. Alright, here's the quick and dirty. We have Listell, Healer's Hater. She unlocks the attack bond for the Sage of the Trees, and she is a key staple of the Valkyrie cheese. We have Omega, who's a skill-reliant assassin. He unlocks the defensive bond for Gizaroth and the attack bond for Epsilon, and he activates easy mode for routine PvE content. Finally, we have Renata. She punishes enemies who attack your teammates. She has a situational guard ignore and self-revive, and she's a good option against Fenrir. Back by extremely popular demand, we have the Notes for Noobs section, so if you're a newer player with a newer account, or you just don't mind a verdict-style summary to help you digest all this information, should you summon? I'll make this one quick. Listell, Omega, and Renata are all units that are good at very specific things. I guess that's what niche means, so they're niche. But since this is a section for noobs, they're not essential for new players. You'll get by just fine without them. Thunk, thunk, thunk. Finally, my usual reminder about upcoming banners. I'll just emphasize that next week is the banner everyone's been waiting for, featuring one of the most ridiculous new characters to come to the game in a long time. It's the next major update featuring Lucretia and Autocrato. And Lucretia is the hype successor to Kyura for reasons that will become clear in next week's episode. Anyway, that wraps it up for this episode. I hope you found this video and these summaries helpful enough to warrant a little thumbs up. Let me know in the comments if you plan on summoning here and what kind of luck you had. As always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next Should You Summon. Extra special thanks, of course, to our Langrisser tier channel members for generously supporting the channel directly. Levitt, Derek Gunderson, Kyle Greer-Brown, William Householder, and Kate Soon, and welcome to new member Jared Portela. Thanks, folks.